Hello, everybody. Matt Moreno here with eXp Realty, talking to my friend Rob Garcia, Chief Strategy Product Officer at Snapfi Mortgage. How you doing today, Rob?
Good. How are you, Matt? It's so great to be with you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
So how are things out there in the Bay Area, man?
It's crazy like everywhere else in the country, I guess, right? We're going through so much.
Right.
But it's great. I always think about it as, when things change, it's opportunity. So we have significant changes happening in the market and rates, industry, and everything is kind of like in a constant change right now. And it's just creates all kinds of different new opportunities. And it's exciting.
Yeah, that is. So you're pretty high up, you would say, at Snapfi Mortgage, right? Ranking wise. I mean, being the Chief Strategy and Product Officer, this isn't an entry level position that you fell into, correct?
Definitely not. It's interesting. We're a small company. Like if you think about mortgage companies, they tend to be nowadays humongous companies, right? Really big online lenders, and we are kind of like a boutique lender, direct lender. Do everything in house. People still have control, like that kind of relationship building with your mortgage advisor. So we tend to be nimble, smaller. But yeah, I guess I'm the head of strategy, so I drive a lot of stuff for the company. So yeah.
And how'd you get there? I mean, what's your background look like to get to that point where you're at right now?
I guess you can get to that point in so many different ways. My background is very varied. There's a lot of stuff in it. So I initially started as a computer engineer myself. Think about me as a geek, right? The guy that likes to understand how the Atari works and kind of pull it apart and trying to figure out what the code was to make it work. And so that's kind of the beginnings. And then I moved slowly towards more the business side, right? Like when you're in technology, you either stay that way and you keep on coding and building stuff the rest of your life and behind the scenes kind of building the code, or you start realizing, well, I'm building this for something, and I need to understand who I'm building it for. Who is the customer? Who is the consumer of this technology, and why, right? What's the need behind it? And so I slowly started moving in that direction until I realized that the business side was really interesting to me. And ended up doing a master's degree in entrepreneurship in Boston. And kind of combining those two worlds, right? Like business and technology, and trying to figure out how those two worlds come together to build new companies, to build new ideas, to bring new products to market, that sort of initiatives. So yeah, that's how I got here, I guess.
That's awesome. Sounds like it was a fun time though, right?
Yeah. It also helps that I like wine, so you end up meeting a bunch of people,
Right.
and that's literally how I met the founder of Snapfi, and we talked about the challenges in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry in general, and how companies have to be in constant reinvention,
Right.
to continue to get to market, but also to continue to keep that loyalty from customers and innovate all the time. So
what are some of the daily habits that you kind of have to do to sustain your level of success, to kind of keep everything going, and how does that help our industry as far as technology and where everything's going in the future with technology?
Wow, that's a heavy question. Habits. Listen, there's no that I know. There's no secret to success other than preparation and hard work. I honestly don't see any other way around it. So those are my top two. You got to be learning all the time. You got to be meeting with people like yourself who are trying new things and learning from them and making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. And well, maybe I shouldn't do it this way. Maybe should do it this other way. And hard work. Like I think I took that from my mom. I guess I wake up earlier than everybody else. I I check my email, look at my schedule, what's going on today, and what do I have to do, and how many more people do I have to text, call, or engage with to get to the next step. And so those two things combined they're always there. It also doesn't help that I have a hyper brain. So when things don't get done the previous day, like my brain is kind of waking me up super early and going like, you still have a couple of things that you need to do. So that is also, I guess, is not a habit. I think that's just a nature, I guess.
Yeah, it's a behavior, I mean, I'm kind of the same way before I got into what I do now, which is real estate. I had to live by somebody else's calendar, and it was frustrating, because somebody else is like, go here at this time, be at work at 7, do this, do that, and I thought, man, when I get in real estate, it's not going to be that way. And then, it wasn't at first, but it was frustrating because I hadn't closed deals and I wasn't where I was professionally wanting to be, and then I started living by the calendar and watching what happens when you block time out. And then all of a sudden I felt like, oh, I have time here that I can spend doing this. But I totally relate to you with what you said about if you don't get something done, the next day your mind is like, hey, bud, time to go back to work. Let's get these tasks off the calendar so we can move into the future,
Yeah, I love your comment about blocking time. I have a very simple kind of idea or concept that I use all the time, which is trying to figure out if what you have in front of you is urgent or important. And it's a very, people are like, isn't that the same thing? Well, it's not. Urgent is something that you need immediately, right? Like there's a water drop coming down from the ceiling. It's urgent. You gotta fix it right now, right? Yeah. That happens to be also important. Otherwise, your house is gonna be destroyed. But in many cases, it might not be important. You might be leaving that house. You might be selling that house. You can care less. You're gonna be somewhere else tomorrow. So that might be more important. So blocking time to me is it's really necessary to be able to work on important things that are not urgent, right?
Yeah.
Studying, preparing, looking at data, understanding what's happening in the market, listening to experts, working on that special project that takes a little bit of time to get to, right? And you need to take a step at a time. Blocking time on your calendar is super important to that. For us, is connecting with people like you. I block time to reach out to you guys, and because mortgage company doesn't exist without strong loyalty and relationships to good realtors.
Right.
So to me, that's super important. Like I got to make time. I got to make time to reach out. I got to make time to build and connect and nurture those relationships. That's super important.
And I appreciate that. It's awesome. How many times have we tried to do this live now? Like 4 times?
Yeah.
Something always comes up, it's like
something urgent.
Yeah, something urgent or something that, I think this last one, I was in Southern California or something at Disneyland.
Well, no, that I would say that's important, right? You were with family.
Yeah, no, it was super important. It just kind of double booked it, I guess,
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on live with me today. I think that's about all I have to talk about, unless you have some more stuff you want to talk about.
I thought you wanted to ask about what's going on in the market.
Oh yeah, what is going on in the market?
Unless you want to make this a 30-minute show, we probably should skip that question or at least do a summary of it.
There you go. Give us the Cliff Notes.
The Cliff Notes is we have gone through so much the last couple of years. COVID has put us through so much. The market, the Fed has had to intervene and basically artificially keep things in place, if you will, keep the economy going. So the Fed is basically signaled multiple times in the last couple of months that they're not going to do that anymore. So we're in for a rude awakening. There's going to be increases in interest rates. That is not a guess. That is not a maybe. It is pretty certain. In this world, I don't want to use the word pretty certain or the phrase pretty certain very frequently, but it seems like that's where we're going. In fact, we're already seeing what's going on in the stock market going down and adjusting a little bit. The interest rates for mortgages have gone up. They were in the high twos about 3 or 4 months ago, and now we're in the high threes, closer to four. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see those rates stay up there. That has a lot of implications on people buying houses, right? So maybe they don't qualify for as much as they qualified before. Maybe house prices will stabilize a little bit because they've been going up like crazy the last couple of years. We don't know what the ramifications of that is going to be, but it's definitely interesting times, and I think the next 2 or 3 months are going to be very telling in terms of where we're going to end up, and hopefully a more stable industry and market is what I'm again looking at it from a positive lens. I think that's what we're looking forward towards.
Yeah. And, I've noticed too, with just dealing with the buyers that I deal with, and I work both sides of real estate, sellers and buyers, buyers are getting frustrated where we're at here in Yuba City. Market prices have been steadily increasing and staying there.
Yeah.
And people are coming there. There's so many people from the Bay Area that are moving up into this area because they know that they can work from home. They don't have to go anywhere, physically to work anymore. They can actually just stay at home, do their home office, and move somewhere cheaper and live wonderful lives, out in the valley out here. And so we have had a ton of just buyers come here. And they've all got cash or conventional loans. So somebody with an FHA or VA loan, it's harder for them to get that accepted. And so I've noticed a lot of frustration on the buyer side because of that.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. And we're a Bay Area company based in the Bay Area, but we operate in 4 states. And we see what you're just saying. That trend is not just within California. Like it's people going to Yuba City, to Modesto, to Stockton, of all places. It seems like every mid-sized city in California is revitalizing and changing dramatically because there's so many people migrating into those places, but also intrastates. We're seeing so many people leaving Los Angeles area and going inland, but also over the line there to Las Vegas, Henderson, right? Up here going towards Tahoe and Reno and Sparks and Gardnerville and Carson City, right?
Yeah.
If you take a plane, then you go to other places like Texas and Colorado and Idaho, right?
Idaho is blowing up right now.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
And we're going to continue to see those trends, maybe less as I think big companies, especially in the Bay Area, they're saying, don't bother. I mean, if you want to be in the office once a week, fine. But, I think we're all learning to work remotely, doing meetings on Zoom or what have you. And it's becoming the norm, and people are more used to having those kind of relationship building activities over the screen. It's not the same. I really want to, I'd rather have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and just chat in person. But, it is the new world, I guess, that we're adapting to.
So your employees, they're primarily remote working, or do you guys have offices and
we
do?
We do, yeah. So we have an office in Sacramento that probably nobody has visited in about 3 or 4 months or more. It's strange. We have to close our Las Vegas office because there was nobody there. It's it's super. I have an office in on the other side of the border there on the Nevada side in northern Nevada that I probably use maybe once a month. And everybody else is working remotely from home, or I've seen a couple of our mortgage advisors meet or with customers in offices like yours with a realtor, but like customers don't want to come and hang out with us. Everything is electronic nowadays. They just scan the documents and send them to us, upload them to the hub. Technology is super advanced, so it's super easy to do all that. So I think that trend is here to stay.
I think so.
I don't see though anybody buying a house with putting it in a shopping cart and go and check out, right? I don't.
No, they still need that experience with their realtor. They still need us to take them to the house and let them in, so they can walk around and there are some people buying virtually, right? But they'll set it as a contingency to close that they come out and investigate the house or have the house inspected. I mean, I don't know how much money I would need to make, Rob, to be able to confidently say, yeah, I'm going to buy that, $400,000 home without even looking at it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because if you look at all the, I read a lot of studies and marketing research, they all tell you and say that people want more technology, and people want to start online, and they want to do their own research, and they don't want to talk to a salesperson, right? Because they all think we are salespeople. We're not. We're advisors to help them through the process. And what I think is super interesting is that the customers and consumers say that, when you're doing research, when you're doing marketing research, when you have consultants asking them questions, how would you buy a house?
Right.
But then when the reality hits and they have to actually make a decision, they want to talk to a realtor who's an expert. They want to talk to a mortgage advisor that knows what they're talking about, that explores 5 different options, that runs the numbers back and forth, that crunches as much as possible to figure out what is the right number for me, what is the right program for me. Do we get the best possible deal? And guess what? The computer is not going to do that. And bots, I'm a big proponent of bots. I've built so many for our company to try to follow up with customers. But the reality is that doesn't build a relationship, and that doesn't increase the confidence that you're making the right decision.
And it's hard to control a bot, man. I found that out. I actually have one that I had set up through, I think it's Chatfuel or something, and it's hooked up to my messenger, and it keeps like it straight up came up with its own giveaway. Someone responded to us, and then all of a sudden it was like, if you enter your email, you'll be entered into this giveaway. And he was like, for sure. For what is it for? And
wow.
And he sent the email in, and the bot was like, you're all set up. And so Janelle and I were looking at each other like, did you do that? Did you talk to the person through Messenger? And both of us were like, nope. We looked at it, and sure enough, it was this bot that I had set up.
Strange.
Yeah. And it's just like it keeps coming up with its own little versions of what it needs to say, and it's super weird. It's fun, but it's weird,
It is weird. Artificial intelligence is kind of charting into new territories of interacting with humans, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Where do you think it's going?
I think I already gave you the answer, which is you still need the human, right? So we do at Snapfi, we do a lot of automation of transactional based updates. Like, your loan has been approved, or it requires additional documentation. And a lot of that can be done by bots and automation. But then when the customer has a question about a specific document, like, do I need to give you the one from last month or 2 months ago? Like that, you need a human to look into it and understand the file and have a conversation with the customer. When the customer is freaking out and trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I just signed the documents. Is this really the right house that I should be buying? Like, who do you talk to? You can't talk to a bot.
No, you need to talk to me. For sure.
Exactly. Go talk to the realtor. I'm happy to jump on the phone and run numbers for you and give you a sense of what the difference is between that price, that offer that you just made for $20,000 more for that house, so that you can win that house. Those kinds of conversations, you can't really replace the human interaction and the advice.
Right.
So.
Well, right on, man. We've had a good conversation today. I appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. And you're going to have to come on up to Yuba City, and we'll do lunch one of these times. All right.
You got it.
All right. Good talking to you.
All right. Take care.